rainy days may not be the perfect time for you to venture out and take photos. After all, who likes getting drenched while trying to snap the perfect picture? However, there is no denying the magic in how rain can turn a simple scene into one that's dramatic, mysterious, and enchanting. But what if I told you you don't need actual rain to get that effect? Yep, you heard me right. You can create the illusion of raindrops on sunny days using just a spray bottle. Intrigued? Let's dive in. The concept is simple. You create rain by spraying water over your subject, but the execution? That's where it gets interesting. You will need to set your shutter speed and aperture manually, carefully control the available light, and synchronize the spray with the shutter release perfectly. It's a real test of your skills, but the results are so worth it. There are two exciting ways to approach this technique. The first, it's all about the aperture and the dreamy bokeh effect, while the second focuses on manipulating shutter speed to capture dramatic water trails. The setup is the same, but each method gives you a completely different vibe. Let's dive into aperture priority first. For this magic to happen, you will need a fast lens, something like an f1.8 or even f1.4. Set your camera to aperture priority mode and open that aperture wide. This gives you control over the image's look while letting the camera handle the exposure. Using a tripod can be a lifesaver here. Coordinating the spray and pressing the shutter simultaneously, it's easier when your camera is stable. Choose a spray bottle with an adjustable nozzle. Experiment with fine, medium or hard mist to see what works best for your shot. Now let's take the shot. Set up your camera on the tripod and frame an exciting subject, like a vibrant flower against a simple background. Ideally, position your subject where the light is coming from above and from either the left or right. This will add depth and create a more three-dimensional effect in your scene. Switch your lens to manual focus to keep things sharp. Focus on the flower, leaving some space above for the rain. Hold the spray bottle just in front of the lens, but make sure it doesn't appear in the frame. Just before you press the shutter, give your subject a good spray. Remember that the amount of water in the frame can affect your exposure, so take a few test shots and adjust accordingly. The size and placement of the bokeh circles will depend on the water droplet size and distance from the lens. Droplets further from the lens create larger circles, adding to the magical feel. Once you've mastered the aperture technique, it's time to switch gears and play with shutter speed. This approach is a bit more challenging as you need to balance more variables. By adjusting the shutter speed, you can capture the movement of the droplets, transforming them into dynamic lines that suggest motion and the passage of time. Depending on your lens and lighting condition, start with a shutter speed between 120 to 160 of a second. Then adjust based on your preference. A slower shutter speed will elongate the droplets into lines. The slower the shutter, the longer the lines will appear. When it comes to aperture, it's crucial to find the right balance between keeping your subject sharp and creating a pleasing blur in the background. Start with an aperture of f5.6 and adjust as needed. To minimize background details and emphasize your subject, increase the distance between them and the background. Keep a close eye to your exposure settings, especially in bright conditions. You may need an ND filter to reduce the light reaching the sensor and avoid overexposure. The raindrops will stand out more dramatically with different light directions. Position your camera so that the droplets are clearly visible, and remember, they are most striking when backlit, so try shooting into the light for the best effect. So let's take a shot now. First, place your camera on a tripod and frame your subject with a plain background. This helps keep the focus on the rain effect without distractions. Switch your lens to manual focus to avoid any confusion with your camera's autofocus, as each raindrop could become a potential focal point. Focus on your subject, leaving some space at the top of the frame for the rain. Set your camera to manual mode so that you have maximum control over your image. Start with a shutter speed of 1/50 of a second and aperture of f/4.5. Keep your ISO at its lowest settings, 100 or below. If the lighting is too bright, use an ND filter to avoid overexposure. Now grab your spray bottle and hold it in front of the lens, but make sure it stays out of the frame. Just before you press the shutter, give your subject a good spray of water. If you've got a friend to help, they can spray the water continuously while you focus on capturing the perfect shot. The type of mist you create depends on the nozzle of your bottle and the speed of which the water is ejected. Each variation will give you a different effect, so don't be afraid to play around with exposure settings to create brighter or darker images. Keep an eye on the LCD screen to see how your shots are turning out as you go. Finding the ideal balance between shutter speed and aperture might take a little time, but remember, practice makes perfect. Whether you go for the dreamy bokeh or the motion blur magic, creating rain effect on a sunny day is a fantastic way to add excitement and creativity to your photography. So grab that spray bottle, experiment with your settings, and watch your images to come to life. If you are eager to explore more creative techniques like this, consider enrolling in my advanced online course on Impressionist photography. You will not only master unique methods to elevate your photography, but also gain access to expert tips and insights that will help you develop your own artistic style. Join the course today and take your creativity to the next level. Link in the description below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your photos with our Facebook group. See the link in the description below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.